Welcome in, Whiskey Freaks. It's the Blind Tasting Podcast. This is John Stark, and today, this is going to be a tough one. I want to talk about this new Knob Creek release. And I know I'm late to the party, guys. I think you'll forgive me, at least I hope you will. And honestly, there are a couple reasons I'm late on this one. One of them is this one's just a little bit harder to get through than the other. Now, the first part here is easy. I saw it pop up in my Facebook feed not the other day, but this was back in March. And my favorite local spot, Bobby at the Bottle Shop. I saw him put this on the Facebook, and I immediately was like, yes, that's going to be for me. Now, you guys know how much I love what they're doing at Jim Beam, and especially when something new from Knob Creek shows up, I was like, yes, this is definitely on my radar, like straight away. And especially, it's not just another shelf regular. This is something special. I'm a Knob Creek guy. Always have been. I've always felt like Knob Creek has a lot to offer, and especially for the price. But it really has a lot to offer, even if the price was more, in my opinion. Because usually you can get it for about $34, right? So I see something new, something a little different, something that at least pretends it might surprise you. I'm interested. Now for the harder part. And I usually try to stay, I really thought long and hard about doing this episode at all. And this is a short episode, but I really thought, I don't know if I should go into this territory on the podcast. You know, I avoid political rabbit holes for the most part. I avoid unnecessary drama, other than the occasional rant. And I usually avoid stuff that leans sad. Because frankly, most people don't want to hit play to hear me get emotional about life. But this one lands a little different for me. And this is why. The same day this bottle hit shelves, we here at my house, we had to say goodbye to our buddy Oakie. And yeah, some of you know Oakie already. He made his kind of accidental internet debut on my socials during my interview with Nick from Switchgrass Spirits, and that was back a couple months ago. Oakie managed to casually steal attention from the bottle when I was going to take a picture of the bottle for socials. He ended up being in that picture. You can see him on my Facebook or my Instagram. If you want to scroll back to see him, he's a beautiful cat. We had him for 17 years. And that's a long run for a cat. And it's a long run for anything, to be honest. How many of us know marriages that have lasted less than 17 years, right? It's a long run, like I said, for a cat. And long enough that they stop feeling like a pet and they start feeling like part of the furniture, part of your routine, part of the whole daily life at your house. It's a little creature who is just always there. So the exact day this came out, after we said goodbye, we ran to Bobby's and I grabbed a bottle. And I decided this would be Oakie's bottle. It's not because there's some deep poetic bourbon ritual attached to it. It's just because sometimes you tie a moment to a bottle. Sometimes you do that to music, right? I tie a lot of life events and things that I was doing 30, 40 years ago to a song. And this one I will forever tie to a bottle. You can call me soft. You can call me whatever you want. I can live with that. But in his honor, this is the bottle that I'm reviewing today. In full disclosure, this bottle is open. I cracked it the day I bought it because, let's be honest, there was no chance I was bringing home a new Knob Creek on that day and letting it sit untouched. And I'll also tell you right now, my feelings on this pour, they're mixed. So let's get into it. So I am using my favorite Limestone Branch Glencairn today. Sadly, Limestone Branch is not producing bourbon whiskey at the moment. Not that they were producing that much, but they are not at this point for, I guess, about a year, right? But I'm using their Glencairn anyway, and I'm sitting here with this bottle in my hot little hands. This is Knob Creek Blenders Edition 01, so it's the first new edition, and they're calling it their Sweet Bourbon Blend. They are making absolutely sure you understand what they're aiming for because it flat out says Sweet Bourbon Blend right here on the bottle because they don't want you to miss that point. I think they have a point in what they're saying there, and it's very specific. I'll talk about that later. The presentation of this bottle is pretty sharp. It's basically kind of this dressed up Knob Creek 9 bottle. They've stepped it up a little bit to let you know, this is different. It's real easy to read everything that's on this label. Small batch labeling, age statement says 10 years, tasting notes. It's got this fun neck tag. Neck tag says Blenders Edition and some things I'm not going to read right now. It's not important, really. There's a lot of little touches here. They took a lot of time. I guess Freddie probably did this one, right? Freddie, no. Took a lot of care in creating this label and getting ready to put this Blenders Edition out. So, appreciate that. Now, this is the first in what they're calling the Blenders Edition series. And they're basically spotlighting the decisions behind different flavor profiles. And in this case, the tasting team, whatever, they lean towards the sweeter side of what Knob Creek can do. And that's what we've got here. Here are the deets. I'm just holding it in my little Glencairn here. This is 106 proof, which is nice. It's 10 years old, and it says so, like I said, right on the front of the bottle in print right on the front. You can't miss it. Like I said, it's from Beam Suntory. I like to call it lovingly Jim Beam. And I paid $49.99 at the bottle shop here in my town. I'm not going to belabor it. Get a notebook, write your tasting notes down, and you're going to want to refer back to it. I'm not going to beat that over the head. Not going to beat that. Right away, the color. And I always say it, guys, so I'm saying it again here today. The color should be observed in your glass, not in the bottle. And it depends on the bottle you're looking at. This bottle, there's a lot of room. You can see the color. And it actually looks exactly the same when you hold it up to the light as in my Glencairn. But in many cases, it doesn't. The color often gives you a preview of how much depth you're about to put in your mouth, what your flavor notes are going to be. And I know that's not always true, but it is a lot of the times. At least I've noticed that. I'm going to mention it, and so I'm going to mention it here today. This thing, it's pretty light in color. For being 10 years old, if I didn't know it was 10 years old, I think I'd be surprised. This is more like a light straw, or maybe even like a wet straw, really. If you've ever had a bale of straw or a bale of hay, not hay, but straw, and it gets rained on, this looks like wet straw to me. Maybe a very pale brown. Not a lot of color to it. When I see something like this, that little voice inside my head, no, not that one, the other one, it says this may not have a lot going on. Look at the legs here, guys. Yeah, legs are, it actually has decent legs. I've seen worse, I've seen better, but yeah, you're getting a little leg action on the inside of the glass as I move it back and forth here. Nosing it just a little bit here. It's 106 proof, like I mentioned. I'm getting virtually zero alcohol or ethanol on the nose. Let me nose it real well here. I'm going to see if I can get any tasting notes out of this. Yeah, there's very faint notes coming out of this glass, guys, but I'm kind of like, where are all the smells at? Let me take another. Let me get another. Let me get another smell on this. Yeah, I like I said, I have tasted this before, so I'm not putting on for you here, and I'm just being honest. I've never had this happen before. Like, I am struggling to pull a lot out of the nose here. You do get the slightest faint note of caramel, however you want to say that, and there's a bit of a tinge of vanilla here, and like this super faint sweet oaky note. Let me try again. Yeah, yeah. I mean that. I'm not going to belabor it. That's really it, guys. It's really hard to pull anything else out of this glass. Let me take a sip of this. Let's go there. Yeah, there's a real nice creaminess to this, like a lot. And okay, the oak is coming through a little bit better here on my sip than what I was barely getting on the nose. And there's this citrusy note in here that you guys know I love, like an orange citrusy note that I find to be quite delicious. And there's a good bit of vanilla here. Let me get another sip here. Okay. I wouldn't call this viscous, right? I mean, this isn't Booker's, but it does have pretty decent mouthfeel. And like I said, it's got what I would call a creaminess to it. Now, I will say, as this is my third sip now, I am getting a good bit of warmth in the chest. And I guess at least that tells me I'm drinking bourbon. But there isn't a lot of depth to this so far. Let me get another sip here. I'm trying to find the delicious flavors in here, right? Because I want to be frank with you. I mean, I'm not pissed. I'm just kind of confused at this point. Let me get another sip. Okay. There's a decent bit of sweet oak. Again, I got a little bit of that on the nose. Comes through a bit stronger, like in a nice way, on the palate. But there's not a lot of what I'd call deep bourbony flavors in here. It's got some caramel, it's got some vanilla, and it's got this really delicious sweet oakiness to it. And okay, and maybe a tinge of that citrusy orange note that I like. That's here too. But I'm kind of dumbfounded here, guys. This is their new Blenders edition. I mean, they haven't rolled out anything new in a while, and I'd say, all right, if you put this in a blind, I would guess no one would say this is any more than 5 or 6 years old. There's no way. And look, I'm not even doing a verdict today. I'm definitely glad I bought this, at least for the reason of my buddy Oakie. And there's really no correlation to his name being Oakie and bourbon. We got him 17 years ago, and that was before I began my bourbon journey. So not to say that I hadn't had bourbon up to that point, but not really my bourbon journey, so to speak. Kind of interesting how his name, Oakie. Anyway, like I said, I'm a little in my feels. I think that's what all the cool kids say these days. I'm in my feels, and I'm a little sad about my buddy being gone. But as for the bourbon, I'm just sad it doesn't give me more bourbony goodness, more bang for my buck. And I think that's because I've been enjoying real flavorful bourbon for a long time now. I'm not giving I'm not giving a verdict, but I am going to say keep it. If you got to have all the iterations of Knob Creek, then guys, go ahead. Now, I'm not buying it again. I've got this bottle here. This is my commemorative bottle. This will be what I drink every year on the day of saying goodbye to Oakie. I would say buy this if you're into Knob Creek, if you like Jim Beam, but I'm not buying it again. And now, that being said, I will potentially buy other blenders editions that maybe bring other flavor profiles to the table. This flavor profile, it's fine. It's fine. But I think I might have just gone into this one with kind of misplaced expectations. And what I mean by that is, I don't know if my emotions got the best of me here, since this pour kind of means something to me. At least it means a little bit more than just any old pour. But this Knob Creek Blenders Edition, I think maybe it doesn't meet my expectations, but I think it meets the expectations of all the cats over at Jim Beam. And what I mean by that is, I think the folks over at Beam, I think the drinkers of today, new drinkers, this is the kind of flavor profile, and these guys at Beam might be genius here, right, at this point in time in the bourbon world. I think new drinkers would love this flavor profile. I think it would draw a person in and give them that satisfying, sweet enjoyment for a new bourbon or whiskey drinker. In my humble opinion, this would be a good dessert whiskey. It's light, it's fresh, it's sweet. If you drink wines, think Gewürztraminer. It's kind of a dessert wine. It's a very sweet, very easy to drink. And that's the same thing this is, right? This is sweet. It's kind of a treat bourbon. There's really not a lot of depth to this. I think if you wanted to get a newbie into bourbon, this right here would do the trick. And to me, this thing drinks like 86 proof. Now, I think this would be a great patio pour. We're going into spring, right? Early summer is coming up. You could sip this out on a warmer day. I don't know if I'd put it on ice, though. Oh, my God. If you wanted to get crazy, you could chill it, maybe, to make it a little bit more refreshing. Me, I'm going neat all the way. That's just how I go. But I could see where some people might put a cube in it. I don't know. This flavor profile, to me, I feel like it would just water it down. That's just me. I'm not putting a cube in it. Some people say you put a cube in it, that really opens it up. Well, I don't put ice cubes in my soda to make my soda open up, right? When I put ice cubes in my soda, my Pepsi, it waters it down. It doesn't taste as good. So the logic doesn't work for me. Look, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a master distiller. But like I said, this whole problem today, or maybe it isn't a problem, is my expectations were wrong. I mean, it's good bourbon. It's fun. It's different. But I can tell you, I'm not grabbing a backup. Am I glad I picked it up? Yes. Yes, I am. And I encourage you to seek it out. And if you can get it for around $50, maybe less than $50, I say grab it. And especially if you're into the Knob Creeks, you got to add it to your Knob Creeks, right? Put it on your shelf. Now, me personally, I hope they continue this blender series. And what I really hope is, I hope the next one has a bit more oomph to it. Now, I do love that it's 106 proof, but God, if it was less than 106 proof, in my opinion, this would be a watery pour. I love Beam. I've mentioned that. How many times can I say that, right? I love Knob Creek. And I kind of feel like I'm just putting up with this one. I'm tolerating this one. I don't like that. I don't like that I feel like I'm just tolerating this bourbon, because it does have a good flavor to it, but I don't love it. So my final thoughts, guys. I've heard rumors that this is in contention for Whiskey of the Year. Okay, budget or value Whiskey of the Year. Now that sounds all well and good, but I'd rather call it the best entry-level bourbon of the year, or maybe the newbie bourbon of the year. I really feel like this will draw in the new crowd that we need to start sipping whiskey. The folks that aren't into heavy flavor notes yet and strong proof points. That's just in my opinion, guys. It's a value, sure. Me personally, I would rather pay $34.99 and get the 9-year. This isn't value for me at $50. I didn't get ripped off. Bobby doesn't rip you off, but it was a good price. But I'd rather grab maybe a Still Austin or a new Riff for the same or even less money and get a more flavorful pour. And guys, that's just me. You do you. I'm not your mom. You pick your whiskey, right? But for me, I'm going to keep it for sure. But I'm not buying another one. I promise you that. And this is going to sound crazy, or maybe it's weird, or I'm not sure what to call it. But despite the fact I'm not in love with this new bourbon, doing this episode, it's been kind of cathartic for me. And for those of you with infinity bottles, that means something that helps relieve strong emotions. And that's kind of what I did here today. So I got to thank y'all for allowing me to do this tasting and review both for Oakie and for me. Just know I'll be sipping this stuff every single March 5th. I'll be smiling and I'll be sipping and I'll be thinking of all the crazy good times we had for almost 17 long, crazy years. Yeah, you can call me, guys, you can call me whatever you want. You can call me a wussy. I really don't care. But guys, I'm not even going to try to fight you on that one. That's all I got for today, Whiskey Freaks. Thanks for listening to the Blind Tasting Podcast. Cheers.